Dangerous, sick, the enemy. President Trump making a stunning new attempt to strip away the media's legitimacy today. He tweeted, "The fake news hates me, saying that they are the enemy of the people only because they know it's true. I am providing a great service by explaining this to the American people. They purposely cause great division and trust. They can also cause war. They are very dangerous and sick." I want to bring in CNN senior media correspondent and host of Reliable Sources, Brian Stelter, because Brian, today on your show, you talked about a death threat you received. A caller to C-SPAN said she's going to shoot you and Don Lemon, falsely claiming, both of you said, Trump supporters are racist. I want to play the clip.
All right. Don, State College, Pennsylvania, supports the criticism of the media. Don, you are on the air.
Good morning.
Morning.
It all started when Trump got elected. Brian Stelter and Don Lemon from CNN called Trump supporters all racist. They don't even know us. They don't even know these Americans out here, and they're calling us racist because we voted for Trump? Come on, give me a break. They started the war. I see him, I'm going to shoot him. Bye.
I mean, that is so disturbing. Brian, if God forbid there is violence against journalists, do you think the president feels like his words have an impact? Do you think he would have any sense of what kind of role he may have in it?
Well, I think on one level, there's always been unhinged people in the world. There's always been lunatics out there making threats to newsrooms. But the difference now is that there are a lot more of those threats, a lot more of those calls, emails, and tweets that are coming into newsrooms. And it's partly, I don't want to lay it all at the president's feet, but it's partly because he's created this atmosphere of hatred of the media. Again, it's always been there to some degree, but he's ratcheted the volume up in a really loud way. And so I think that call to C-SPAN is just a tiny illustration of what newsrooms are grappling with. I want to be clear, I'm not looking for sympathy here. There are journalists at our organization that get far worse threats than I get. Unfortunately, if you're a member of a minority group, if you're a woman in journalism, you tend to get much more severe threats. And CNN's great about handling these threats. So are rival networks. I mean, look, people at Fox get threats too. This is a problem throughout journalism, but I think that call is an illustration of it. Like on live TV, that this kind of thing happens. And like I said, it's just happening more often in the Trump age.
Well, again, that whole idea of enemy of the people,
right,
calling the American journalists dangerous and sick and talking about war. I mean, all of that kind of rhetoric really does stir emotion. It stirs passion in people, and you just never know. Kellyanne Conway was asked about this tweet today. Here's how she handled it.
Margaret, I think the president's entire point is this, that we do have a news media that includes some reporters. So this should not be a broad brush by any statement. I've said that before. His daughter said it last week. And I know he believes it's not all. That's why he said it really refers to those who aren't always telling the truth and who are giving emotion over information, who are talking more about their own egos than doing everyman interviews.
Brian, at the end of the day, Trump talks for Trump. We all know. I mean, they aren't Kellyanne Conway followers per se. They are Trump followers. So do you think her doing cleanup, does that make a difference?
I think it makes a little bit of a difference. It's notable that Ivanka Trump said journalists aren't the enemy. It's notable Kellyanne said it today. And it's notable Melania Trump broke with her husband over the weekend talking about LeBron James. 3 women in his life, 2 of them family members, who are distancing themselves from Trump rhetoric. I think that's notable in a maybe a somewhat small way. But you're right. Ultimately, Trump speaks for Trump. He has promoted the enemy of the people rhetoric. Essentially, it's official White House policy, since Sarah Sanders didn't refute it the other day or denounce it the other day. And it is very damaging rhetoric. He's saying it over and over again in ways that do raise the temperature in alarming ways. And today, saying sick, dangerous, these are really dehumanizing words. It's the kind of language he uses to describe immigrants sometimes, trying to strip away people's humanity and strip away their legitimacy. That never ends well. It just never ends well.
I mean, commentators on his favorite network, Fox News, have seemed to encourage this battle with the media. Let's listen.
Your mainstream Destroy Trump media has constantly tried and constantly failed to sink the Trump presidency.
The president is up against a completely biased media, purposely ill-informed.
The president once again stood up to those in the media who want nothing more than to see him fail.
And yet, Brian, you have people like Shep Smith, like Chris Wallace,
right,
who are pretty hardcore journalists who call out the president for some of his attacks on the media or when he talks about fake news and he's not factual himself.
Yeah,
I mean, is there some kind of a divide within that network?
It's definitely a tale of two foxes, and we see it frequently on stories on issues like this. Sean Hannity loves to bash the media. It's great for his ratings, but it's bad in the long term for his network and for the country. He's doing a disservice to the public. And I also think he's doing a disservice to the public when he doesn't frame this the right way. I think the framing for these media attacks is that the president has his back up against a wall. He's not doing this because he feels really confident. He's doing this because he's on the defensive. Look at what you've been covering this hour about Don Jr. and Mueller, et cetera.
All right, thank you so much, Brian
Thanks.
Stelter. Don't forget Brian's show, Reliable Sources, every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern.